All right, guys. It is 6:30, so we'll get started. And if anybody else joins on, that's fine. They'll just come in. Real quick, my name is Mrs. Marinac. I am the level 1 teacher at BCTC in the SMaRT program. Mr. Cody?
My name is Mr. Cody. I am the other SMaRT instructor. I teach the level 2s and level 3s.
Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I know this isn't how we hoped to be meeting you guys for the first or second time, but we appreciate that you guys all took the time to come in here. What we're going to do is I have a slideshow presentation that I'm going to put up, and we're just going to go through some information that you guys will need that'll help you know a little bit about what we're going to do with the program. And then when we finish that, we'll have plenty of time for questions. We'll have an open question and answer session. Mr. Cody and I are just going to take turns with the slides, talking to you guys about things. And at the end, like I said, we'll answer any questions that you have. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Mr. Cody, can you see that?
Yes.
Let me make it bigger. Okay. So this is our building. This is what it looks like from the outside for those of you who haven't seen it. Just so you know, that is the main entrance of our building. We want to definitely welcome you guys to our new student and parent orientation. You can find us on Facebook. We are located on Facebook if you want to find our website. And then just a little bit about BCTC. These are the clusters of programs that we have. We have business and IT, communication, construction, engineering and manufacturing, healthcare, and their services and transportation. We are actually in the healthcare cluster, so that's going to include the sports medicine rehabilitative therapy program, which is what you are a part of, the dental occupations, and the health occupations. So we work closely with those other clusters during the year when we're at school. Just take a minute to just introduce myself and tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in good old Reading, Pennsylvania. I did my undergraduate in sports medicine at Slippery Rock University, and then I did my master's in sports medicine at Temple University. I am the level 1 teacher, so as a level 1 student, you will spend most of your time with me, but Mr. Cody and I do co-teach all 3 levels. So there are some days where you'll come in and Mr. Cody will be teaching you and I'll be doing the other levels, and then vice versa. But for the most part, you'll be with me. This is my 3rd year teaching at BCTC. I am a certified athletic trainer. Before coming to BCTC, I was the head athletic trainer for the Muhlenberg School District for the last 18 years. And then I'm also a certified strength and conditioning specialist. So that is my background. I'll give Mr. Cody a chance to talk to you guys and tell you a little bit about himself.
Thanks, Mrs. Marinac. My name is Mr. Cody. I'm going into my 5th year of the SMaRT program. I am a licensed physical therapist assistant, licensed to practice in the state of Pennsylvania. I attended Westchester University and achieved my Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science and Kinesiology. And I am also a certified personal trainer through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, which is part of our curriculum. And I am also a performance enhancement specialist through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And I would like to add that Mrs. Marinac and I are both American Heart certified as basic life support instructors.
Okay. Real quick, I'm going to take this slide and talk to you guys a little bit about uniforms. We do at BCTC in the SMaRT program require you guys to wear a uniform. You can find this uniform and you can order them online at our website. And this web address that I have on here, this is also where you can find what is required. What we are asking, and we talk a little bit about this more in depth on another slide, but we do ask that you wear khaki pants and a blue polo shirt. I'm wearing one of them. Mr. Cody has the other one on. There's There's 2 or 3 different types of colors. There's the light blue that I have on. There's a navy blue. So we ask that you have one of those on. And then we'll get a little bit more in depth in that on the next slide or two. Mr. Cody, you want to take this one?
Sure. So basically, your child will be entering the program because they have an interest in one of these listed professions. Their goal might be to just enter the workforce upon graduation as a physical therapy aide or tech. They may want to pursue their education with achieving a master's degree as a physician assistant, perhaps a personal trainer. They may want to gain a master's degree as an athletic trainer. They might want to go to school to become a dietitian or a certified licensed nutritionist. They may want to pursue something in the occupational therapy field as a OT or an OTA, which is an assistant. They may want to become a physical therapist and get the doctorate degree, or they may want to pursue the physical therapist assistant profession or become an exercise physiologist or exercise scientist.
And you're definitely not limited to just those, but that is the majority and the main majors that you can major in with being in our program.
Correct. We have some students that are also interested in chiropractic medicine.
Yeah. Basically, the way we work at BCTC, and it comes from PDE, which is Pennsylvania Department of Education, there are about 105 tasks that you will learn as a student in the SMaRT program. And basically what we try to do is we try to average between 10 and 15 tasks per quarter that we will go through. Before each quarter begins, I will give you a contract, and on that contract, it will tell you which 10 to 15 we're gonna be doing for that quarter. And then you'll have an idea, you know, just ahead of time of what we're gonna be learning as we go through that period of time. Just to give you an example of some things that we will be going over, we do a lot of patient safety. So this is from fall prevention, emergency procedures. You're gonna learn how to spine board a victim. You're gonna learn how to teach them how to use a cane, a walker, a wheelchair, crutches, all that kind of stuff with patient safety. As far as nutrition, we talk about eating disorders, food labeling, and I can't read that other one because it's blocked. Hold on. Sorry about that.
Oh, PEDs, performance enhancement drugs.
I couldn't read it because I was blocked by my little screen. The next thing we go into, we learn about athletic training and fitness skills. So you will learn how to wrap various body parts, tape various body parts, splinting the various body parts. You'll also learn all the different types of machines. So if you didn't make it into one of our open houses, you didn't get to see that we have pretty much our rooms are set up where we have an athletic training room, we have a fitness facility, and then we have a physical therapy facility. And that's how we have our 3 rooms set up. So you will be learning all the different types of fitness equipment and how to use them and how to set up a patient or a client on those machines, and how to monitor somebody while they're on it. And then as far as anatomy and exercise science, you're gonna learn all the major muscles of the body, as well as movements of the body. And we do go over extensively the most common injuries that you would normally see for the upper body and the lower body. So we spend an awful lot of time on that. We do projects involved with that, and we have a lot of fun. Also, being part of this program, you can achieve these following certifications, okay? And this is what we offer during your 3 years at the program. So you will be certified in CPR and AED, as well as first aid. You have the option of doing a physical therapy aid certification in your 3rd year with the program, or the certified personal trainer through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And we had a handful of students who actually did both. So that is up to you, and depending on how things go while you're in the program. One thing you will do in your 1st year is the OSHA certification. So you're gonna get, it is a 10-hour program. We talk about that a little bit more in the next slide. And you will become certified in that, and you need that to work in the healthcare field. And once you get that certification, it is yours for life. Some other ones that I've added since I've come to the program is the concussion-wise. There's also cardiac-wise, and then we also do Stop the Bleed. In your last year, you will also be certified in the Act 126, which is the child abuse training. So you will also be participating in that. Mr. Cody, was there anything I missed with any of that?
No, can I explain the Act 126 a little bit, just so they understand what that's about?
Yep.
So basically, Act 126 is a state law now, where every healthcare provider is mandated by the Department of Human Services to report any suspected, and I say suspected, child abuse in the healthcare field. So we are obligated to do this by reporting suspected child abuse or child neglect on to Childline. And and as a healthcare worker, your child will be required to do this and to maintain this on a 2-year base every 2 years. Thanks, Mrs. Marinac.
Yep. All right, you're up, Mr. Cody.
Okay, so basically, safety and sports medicine. So all career in our school, all career and technical teachers in BCTC implement a safety program that are just general to their particular areas. Some programs require eyewear, other PPE. For us, we require gloves and some other things and some other general rules that we follow. As part of the safety program, as Mrs. Marinac said, your child will be attaining this first certification under the OSHA 10-hour industry certification, which is in healthcare. They'll learn things about bloodborne pathogens, electrical hazards, chemical hazards, work abuse, work violence in the workplace, things of that nature. So this will probably be done usually in the first quarter going into the second quarter.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about dress code and what's required. This is obviously dictated by the safety rules and industry standards. So this would include, depending on your program, you'll see other kids in other programs, they're wearing hard hats, eye protectors, respirators, ear protection, safety shoes, gloves, and uniforms. But that's obviously dependent on the program. As far as for our program, our main requirement is our dress code. If you go into any athletic training room or physical therapy program, occupational therapy program, they all wear some type of dress code. For us in our program, it's going to be khaki pants, one of the blue polo BCTC logo shirts. I have one of them on here. I don't know how well you can see it. Mr. Cody has one on. And then we ask that you wear sneakers. We do have days where we have mandatory lab workout days. So on those days, we ask that you guys wear your black athletic shorts and a gray t-shirt. So it can be any black athletic shorts and any gray t-shirt, but we do ask, as far as the gray t-shirt, maybe keeping it to one of your school logos on it, not some crazy t-shirt that you get like on the boardwalk at the beach or something like that. So just a nice clean gray t-shirt and athletic shorts, and that's what we will do on lab days. So you are required to do 1 hour a week of working out on the machines. And one of the big reasons why we do that so that when you start working with clients and you start working with patients, you're not going to be able to teach them how to do it and how they're going to feel when they're on these machines if you don't know how it feels to do it yourself. So we feel very strongly about that, and we do ask that and have you make that mandatory that you guys do that on a weekly basis. One big thing for us is there's no jeans or jeans with holes. They are not allowed. We do have 4 changing rooms in our actual lab and in our classroom. So there are 4 private changing rooms. We have 2 bathrooms in our classroom where you can also change. And then we also have a bathroom out in the hallway. So there's plenty of places for you to change, and we give you plenty of time when you first get to BCTC. And then you also have plenty of time before your scheduled bus pickup to change in and out of your uniforms. The other thing for the females in the program, we do ask that there are no longer artificial fingernails, because when you are out in industry, those are not permitted. So we're just kind of getting you used to the way it will be when you get out into working in the real world. Go ahead, Mr. Cody.
Okay, grading policies. So what Mrs. Marinac was mentioning earlier in the presentation when we first got started, each marking period, each student will have a grading contract that they'll sign and will sign, and they'll get and your child will also get a copy of this to keep in their student file. Since instruction here at BCTC is competency based, which provides your child the opportunity to acquire new skills, they're working at their own pace and ability. So you might have Billy working faster than Susie, but Susie's having a little bit more time requirements to get that task done because she's more meticulous, okay? They might, for example, you might have Billy and Susie taping an ankle, just different rates of speed. Students are individually contracted each quarter for the number of learning guides to be completed, or when we're referring to learning guides, it's the tasks, okay? If that task or learning guide is not completed, all it will do is it'll be moved to the next quarter, all right? Kind of being pushed off to the next quarter. Each day an assignment is late, it will result in minus point value. If an assignment is not turned in 3 days after the due date, the student shall receive a grade of 0. Now, Mrs. Marinac and I were parents too. We understand things come up. There might be a family emergency, illness, death in the family, accidents, or whatever. Other arrangements will be made with us. Mrs. Marinac and I are very generous in working with students, especially since we're in a sports medicine program. They may have districts or athletic events where they don't get home till late, or just an example like that. And what's nice is we give all students the chance to complete their work in class so they don't have to take the work home with them. So there's we kind of feel that there's no reason for the students not to get their work done when we give them ample time. We built that work time to get their work completed at school because we understand they have jobs. We understand that they have athletic events outside of school, BCTC. So that's the approach that we take. So we just ask that each student take fully advantage of the time given to complete the work and the task in class, in order for them to be successful.
Okay, a little bit about your grading, just so you guys are aware. It's broken down at BCTC where 80% of your grade is going to come from the knowledge. So that's going to be your tests, quizzes, projects, and things of that nature. 20% of it is going to come from your daily work ethic. And we talk a little bit about this more in the slide that's coming up next. Actually, let me just go to that. If you see right here on this statement down here, okay, each student's going to begin their day with a 9 out of 10. So you walk in the door at BCTC, you already have a 90% for the day for your work ethic. Based on what you do during that day, that number will either increase or it could decrease, okay? And that's going to be based on how we observe you and your performance in the classroom for that day. So, if you promote a strong work ethic, maybe we catch you helping out a classmate, you have a great attitude, you're helpful, you clean up your work area, you don't have to be told to do things, you do your job, because everybody will have a job, and every quarter we switch those jobs. If you do all those without being told, and you do a really great job, you're going to get a 10 for the day. Okay, but if we see things where maybe you're not getting your work done, you don't have your uniform that day, maybe you have a little bit of an attitude, you had a bad day, and you're treating people in the class not very nicely, and we see those things, your grade is going to go down. Okay, so you have the opportunity every day to earn that 10. And it's just based on what we observe as far as your work habits and your attitude on a daily basis. Did you want to add anything to that, Mr. Cody?
No, it's just pretty much how you address your peers, because we adopt the philosophy that you're working with families and sick people. So we really try to promote a positive environment to where we're kind to each other, students and instructors, because in the healthcare industry, that's what's really required from healthcare workers.
Okay, let's move on. Here's some more about the work ethic and how you can earn your your 10 for the day. Your attendance, you're on time, you attend the class, you arrive and leave on time. Everybody has a certain time that they arrive and everybody has a certain time that they leave. And if we catch you leaving before your actual time, that's going to result in minus points. So just, be aware of that. Your character, your honesty, integrity, hardworking, dependable, trustworthy, cooperation. Are you loyalty to your team and your classmates? Do you respect the rights of others? Do you follow the chain of command? How are your manners? Your appearance, are you wearing your appropriate dress code and, have the proper grooming? And then are you following safety classroom rules and procedures? Okay, so you have lots of opportunities to earn that 10 for the day. Go ahead, Mr. Cody, here's some more.
So our daily work ethic, there's a lot of things here that we try to promote. Productivity. In the healthcare setting, you're rewarded with a raise based on a raise in pay with your productivity. How productive are you? How many patients do you see? Your work ethic, stuff like that. The productivity here that we're talking about is completing your assignments and projects on time and remain on task the entire session. One of the things that Mrs. Marinac and I do, since students are there for 3 hours a day, we do a thing in the middle of the morning session and PM session called brain break. This is where we give our students, a 10-minute break or so to kind of get a drink, get away from their work so they can kind of refocus and just give themselves a break to get away from their work a little bit and maybe use the restroom, stuff like that. We've been doing this now for the last 3 years, Mrs. Marinac. We find that the students are more productive when we do that. We also play the radio. We kind of create that atmosphere of fitness, the radio playing, therapy and sports stuff. So we kind of try to keep it to where we are in our industry. Organizational skills, exercising time and management skills. Again, taking the opportunity of the time that we give the students to get their work done in class, taking fully advantage of that. That also ties in organizational skills with their productivity. If your child is having any difficulty with organizational skills, we have Mrs. Mayon. She's our teacher. We have a full-time teaching assistant in there that will help the student stay on task. Communication. This is the biggest thing that we like to bring up in our program. We want our students to participate, get them engaged in class discussions, listen to others who are speaking, because one big thing in the healthcare field is we have to have critical listening skills to hear what our patients are telling us. They're going to take courses in this, demonstrating appropriate nonverbal behavior, eye contact, body language, and attentiveness. Mrs. Marinac and I don't tolerate any disrespectful language. We have a zero tolerance policy for that. Leadership, positive behavior with the classroom and laboratory. We look for leaders. There's times where we do things and we kind of position our students into leadership opportunities. Like Mrs. Marinac said, we have jobs that we switch out quarter to quarter. We actually have we call it a clinical manager, where they make sure that everybody's doing their assigned jobs. Respect and self-control. We have the expectation of everyone to deal professionally with cultural and racial diversity in our program, not engage in harassment of any kind in written or verbal, and exercise self-maturity and self-discipline. Again, this is a career tech program. We're preparing your children to enter the industry upon graduation to start making a good living for themselves.
Okay. Pretty much in your first year in the program, these are the areas that we are going to spend most of our time in. With orientation, we learn a little bit about what the different sports medicine careers there are for you out in the workforce. We do talk a lot about legal and ethical issues dealing with, medicine and patients. That's a lot of fun. We do a lot of like going back and forth and having discussions in the classroom on like ethically how you feel about certain situations. We talk about communication, and that's with your coworkers or with patients and clients. We do a lot on infection control, and given the state that we are in right now with this COVID, it's a very important topic that we handle. We do talk a lot about safety and emergency procedures, heavily in the athletic training skills. You will learn a lot as far as what we do in athletic training, human growth and development, and then basic anatomy. You will learn medical terminology. You will learn different parts of the body, the different muscles, ligaments, all that kind of stuff. We spend a lot of time on that. A lot of the stuff that you guys are learning with me going through the athletic training profession, if I would have had a program like this when I was in high school, it would have just made my life so much easier. The stuff that you are learning in your 3 years at BCTC is a lot of the stuff I learned while I was going through college. And we have a really cool story. We had a senior 2 years ago who went on a visit, and I believe it was to Lehigh University. And he sat in on a third year, so pretty much a junior in college level sports medicine class. And he was able to sit there and listen to what they were doing. And they were taking a quiz that day. And he actually asked the teacher if he could take that quiz. And when he took the quiz, he ended up getting 100% on it. And the teacher was just blown away and was like, what kind of program are you in back in your high school? Like, she just couldn't understand how he knew stuff that she was teaching in a third year, sports medicine program at Lehigh. And when he came back, he was just like, Mrs. Marinac, it was everything we had just gone over. It was so awesome. And I knew everything that she was asking. So he was very proud of himself. So you guys are putting yourself in a great position to, give yourself that advantage going forward with your education in what you want to do. So kudos to you guys for being a part of this. Some of the other stuff that we do, we have basic clinical skills. You're going to learn how to take blood pressure. You're going to learn how to give an eye exam. You're going to learn how to do a pulse, respiration. We talk a lot about nutrition, how to rehab patients or clients with injuries. You do learn administrative skills. Mr. Cody, that's like filing and stuff like that, because I know you teach that, so I'm not 100% sure.
Basically, administrative healthcare, how to file, how to take get important insurance information, things that medical offices require. You will get that your senior year.
Okay. There's also medical terminology. We have a fun program that we use. It's called Dean Vaughn. It's a way that helps you break down very large medical terms so that you can understand them. And again, we do the anatomy and physiology. We talked about the certifications. By the time you are a senior, you will participate in a student project. Mr. Cody, you can talk about that since that's what you do.
Yes. So at the end of their senior year, your child will be required to do what's called a senior project. This could be anything from like a community service project. Like, for example, we do a yearly blood drive through Keystone Miller Blood Drive at our school. We actually have seniors, and they can do it their junior year if they want to. You have to do a senior project where they organize the blood drive for the school.
Project, they do a blood drive. I was like, fuck that.
Colby,
so,
do you want to mute your mic, please? Go ahead, Mr. Cody.
So anyhow, there's other things. They may want to do a shadowing experience at a sports medicine facility. They may want to shadow their athletic trainer at their high school. They may want to do some kind of food drive. It just depends what the student wants to do. Something that pertains to community service or their medical field. They may want to do a research project. It just depends on what they want to do.
Yeah, and I think we've also had students who picked a topic and came up with a presentation and then taught the younger students about like a topic.
Seniors taught the level ones.
We also do career education and work. So as part of your coursework at BCTC, we will teach them how to write a resume, a cover letter. We talk about interview skills and how you go about doing that, what proper clothes you would wear. We go through all that kind of stuff. And then we touch on the exercise science and the fitness skills, because the biggest certification that we offer you in your third year is to become a certified personal trainer. So we spend a lot of time with that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now because we're at the point where we're done talking, and we will open the floor to any of you who have any questions for us. You might have to unmute your mics. I know a lot of you are muted, but any questions you might have?
I have a question about transportation, and I'm assuming they're going to be in person. So would they have transportation from the high school to BCTC? And at any age are they permitted to drive to BTCC?
Yes, BCTC does provide transportation to and from all of the sending schools for both the AM and the PM sessions. So we're going to continue with that this year. And if they are 16 and able to drive, we do have parking permits that they can get. You would just have to contact the main office. Mrs. Cuck is in the main office, and she can help you get all that squared away. We are limited in, I guess, the amount of parking spaces we have, but we are encouraging, because of people not wanting to be on the buses with COVID, that they could get their parking pass and come up there.
Great. And another question I had is, are there any requirements to wear masks?
Yes, all students will have to wear masks.
Even staff and teachers.
Now, when we do our workouts and things like that, we will allow them to take their masks off.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Where do they order the shirts from?
They can get that on our website. So if you go to our BCTC website and you go to our program in there, all the information for ordering their shirts are located there. Anyone else? Don't be shy.
Virtual, at least on some of the days. Can
What
you
was
hear me?
that? Go ahead.
Some of our schools are going to be virtual at least some of the days. So some of us are going to have trouble getting the kids to school on the days that they're not there to get a ride for the bus. Are students going to be permitted to ride with other students? That would be my first question. My second question, are districts going to be able to get kids to the
I don't know if it's my computer or yours. It's freezing a little bit.
That's how, that's how we do it.
Right.
As far as transportation goes, our school is providing transportation to and from school. If we end up going hybrid, as of right now, we're like full opening Monday through Friday. Every hybrid, we have it broken down in like two groups. They have it broken down in two groups: A group, B group. A group will come on Monday and Tuesday. Virtual learning would be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for Group A. Okay. Group B would come on Thursday and Friday, and they would be virtual Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So if your child's not there, they could still follow virtually.
Sorry, guys, I'm back. I lost my connection there.
Oh, sorry. What the exact hours of start and finish are for those times when I might be able to drive my daughter to and pick her up from?
Sure. Our AM session, depending on the school that you're coming from, like for example, Boyertown, they send students in the AM and PM. My daughter's in the Fleetwood School District. if your daughter's in Fleetwood, my daughter's in Fleetwood, she would come in the AM session. They arrive roughly 7:50, and they leave roughly at 10:40 to go to lunch, and then they would get on the bus at 11 o'clock to go back to Fleetwood High School. So they're there for about maybe, I would say, roughly 3 hours a day. So if you go to Hamburg, you would be attending the PM session. If you are Kutztown, you will
What
be
time is the PM? She's Twin Valley, by the way.
Twin Valley. They usually come in around,
They're one of the
I
earlier
would say,
ones.
what's that?
Twin Valley is usually one of the earlier ones that come in the PM.
Yeah. Yeah, PM because of distance. So they're one of the first ones one of the first ones to arrive in the PM session, and then they are one of the first ones to dismiss in the afternoon because of the distant ride.
Yeah, around what time do they show up, Mr. Cody?
Twin Valley, if I recall correctly, they usually show up like 12-ish, and they leave around 2:30, like between 2 and 2:30. We didn't get the schedule yet, so it's hard to gauge.
Good, thank you.
Sure. You should be hearing something about that too.
I have a question on the uniforms as far
Okay.
as what date will they be required to have the uniform by? Is it August 25th or 6th for
The
first?
26th. Typically, the school requires everybody to have their uniforms before the start of school.
So they can get those shirts shipped to
Yeah.
the-
Yeah. So you would have, so your son would have his shirt the first day of school to bring it in for a uniform.
Okay, thank you.
And sometimes because if they're back ordered or whatever, which we ran into that problem in the past, we would just ask in the meantime just to wear a polo shirt just to look professional until they came in.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
With the girls, does it matter if they go navy or light blue, or do you want one of each? I'm sorry, I know you mentioned that earlier.
They can have a variety. They can wear blue, light blue one day, navy blue the other. I wear a different one every day, just so it has our BCTC logo on it. One of them is more cotton blend, and the other one is more like a dry fit. So it's just on your comfort.
Okay,
Typically, if you're looking for a little bit more budget friendly, the light blue one, like Mrs. Marinak's wearing, that's the one people prefer. I think they're like $13, and where the dry fits are more like 26. So it doesn't matter what your whatever your preference is.
Mr. Cody, you want to talk about the books?
Sure. So for level ones, the first year they're going to need what's called the Diversified Health Occupations book. If you go on our website, it's an orange textbook and a workbook. They'll need that for their first year with Mrs. Marinak. They're also going to need what's called the Jim Clover Essentials of Sports Medicine and Athletic Training. There's a textbook with that.
That's the green book.
That's the green book with the workbook. Those are the primary books that your sons and daughters are going to work from with Mrs. Marinak the first year. You don't not have to worry about, and you'll need the NASM personal training certificate, the personal training textbook as well. Do you use that very much, Mrs. Marinak? Do you refer to that at all?
No.
I mean, we do require that, but that's something that they can grab their senior year or junior year. But the primary ones are the orange and green books.
They're all on our website underneath our sports medicine cluster section.
And if you can get them used, you can get them used on Amazon. Amazon's a great source for them. You'll save a lot of money if you can go through Amazon or any other website.
Yes.
Where did you say the books were for like my son's going in 10th grade? Are the books on the website based off of the grade he's in?
Yeah, if you go on our website, sir, the BCTC website, it'll show you what textbooks what year level, like level one, you'll be required to get the orange books and the green books.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And again, I would try to get them used.
Another transportation question. So Twin Valley starts on the 27th and BCTC starts on the 26th. So you're saying as long as I get my son to Twin Valley High School, he'll still have transportation from BCTC?
He should, yes.
Okay.
Dr. Stoffer, are you on here by any chance that you could help us with that question?
I think you had to step out to another meeting. I can text him, Mrs. Marinak.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, from what we've been told, as long as the students can get to the school, there will be transportation to BCTC, but I'm not sure with you guys starting later than us. I guess that would be a question to ask Twin Valley, because I don't know that.
Okay.
They do have our schedule. Every school, because we work with all 16 schools in the county, so every school in the county does get our schedule. So they know there are various days throughout the year where we have what we call a conflict schedule, where you guys might have off for an in-service, but we still have school, and the students are still required to come to BCTC, even though their home school might have off that day. And there's always transportation on those days, because the schools know ahead of time, hey, we're still going to be in session, even though you're not. So that has never been an issue in the past. So I would assume they know when we're going to start, they would have to have the transportation, but I guess that's going to depend.
And the uniforms I ordered Evans like over a month ago, and it said back ordered items, so I haven't gotten anything yet. So I didn't know if you heard from other families. Like most likely, I don't know if he'll have it in time. So.
Okay, yeah, as long as he has some type of like nice polo shirt on and khakis, that's fine until he can get them.
All right.
Do they typically wear their uniforms to school, or do they leave them in a locker and change daily?
Yeah, every child will get a locker and a lock that we provide them to use while they're a student at BCTC. So everyone will have their own locker. And like I said, we have 4 private changing rooms. They actually look like changing rooms when you go into a store and you try on clothes. So they're real nice, big changing areas. There's 4 of them actually in our classroom. And we have 2 private bathrooms. One is in my lab room, and one is in Mr. Cody's lab room. And then we also have a bathroom right outside in the hallway. So they have plenty of places. So most of the kids just come dressed in their clothes for the day. They change, leave their stuff in the locker. I do ask them periodically to take them home in case they start to smell for keeping them in the locker for so long. But a lot of the kids will just leave everything in the locker, come and change, and change back into their regular clothes before they leave. And we give them plenty of time to do that.
Okay.
Anybody have any other questions, concerns,
I do.
comments?
Are students permitted to work ahead or work over the summer on any of the what do you call it, contracts or different parts of the course?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why we give them the contract. So if they finish with one of the tasks ahead of time, I don't see that happening a lot, because we work together through each task, and then at the end of each task there's either a quiz or a lab practical. And by lab practical, that would be like, say we taught them how to use crutches and how to fit a patient for crutches. We would then take the time where they would actually perform that, and we call that like a lab practical, and they would perform that task for me, and they do it on each other. So like they would take another student as their patient, and then they would fit them for the crutches. So we kind of do stick to a pretty tight schedule, and we do stay together. But we have had students who have come in as 11th graders, and they have tried to do all 3 years in 2 years. So they pretty much can work ahead on their own and with us to try to get through all of that stuff. But we do a pretty good job of all staying together and staying on task together. But I have had students that have worked a little bit faster and have put them through that. Most of them, though, like I said, were like 11th or 12th graders who were coming in and trying to do the entire program in a shorter period of time.
I have a question about the textbook. Is it the Diversified Health Occupations workbook? Is that one of the textbooks?
Yes,
there's a
ma'am. That's a
workbook.
yes.
Yeah, there's a workbook and a textbook.
Okay, so they need both of those.
Correct. And then the
the-
same thing with the sports medicine essentials. There is a workbook and a textbook.
So the workbooks need to be new, but the textbooks you can buy used. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We as instructors understand the cost of these books. Textbooks aren't cheap these days, given that we went to college and everything. But this is kind of like Mrs. Marinick said, they're getting a taste of college through this program. So this kind of gives them a good insight as to if this is something they would really want to pursue beyond high school.
And I did have, I think, 2 or 3 students who actually rented the textbooks through Amazon. I don't know how that works, but I did have 2 or 3 of them that actually did that. And I guess you have it for a certain time period and then you have to give it back because you're only renting it. So that is an option too you can look into. Anybody have anything else? I mean, you will be with the other levels. You will be intermixed as far as you will see level 2s and level 3s walking around. We do a lot of stuff together. You can be patients for things that the level 2s or 3s are doing, and vice versa. They can be your patient. So we do try to interact and make our classrooms one big giant family. So it's a very relaxed, fun environment, and you get to know a lot of people, and you get to know a lot of people from different schools, and we do have a lot of fun. And like Mr. Cody said, because the time frame that you're there, we do try to allot, especially with everybody coming at certain times, so everybody comes in like a staggered time frame. So not everybody just shows up at 8 o'clock and we get started. So typically from between 10 of 8 till about 8:20, we have schools coming in. So that's a huge chunk of time, depending on when you get to school, that you can actually work on your stuff. And the same thing happens when everybody leaves. We have about a half an hour time frame where you're either the first one to leave or you're the last one to leave. And that gives you a ton of time to work on any homework or tasks or things that you want to do. Or you just hang out with some of your other friends. As long as you're quiet and respectful, we don't have any issues with that. But the classroom and the stuff that we ask you to do, there is a lot that you have to do, but like what we're trying to let you know is that you will have time to get it done. So if you end up taking homework home, it's just because you're not using your time wisely. So we do definitely encourage time for you to get that, especially while we're there and you have Mr. Cody and I to bounce questions off of and ask for help if you need it. We're there for you. So, just so you know, we have that kind of relaxed environment for you guys.
I'm terribly sorry. Is there a list that has the textbook names and things like that? I'm trying to go online and order them. And
yeah, if you go under the programs and you find, I think it's under the healthcare cluster, and then you'll find sports medicine, it'll say the SMaRT program, sports medicine rehabilitative therapy. And if you click on that, it'll take you directly to our webpage. And if you scroll to the very bottom of the webpage, all of the textbooks are there with links that will take you to where you can buy them.
I will try again.
It's just a couple of steps where you have to find the programs. I think you go under where it says 38 programs, and then you click on that, and then you have to click on the healthcare cluster, and then you have to click on sports medicine. So it is a couple steps to get there, but you should be able to get there through that. And then at the bottom of the page, it actually has pictures of the books, and then a link that you can go on to.
Okay. Is there any way to send out like a little email with those instructions?
Sure, I can do that.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Yep.
I know this is kind of far out, but when there's like a snow day at one of the schools, do they still come if they're on a 2-hour delay, if they're a morning session, or do they not bus them at that point?
That depends on the school. Most schools, if there's a 2-hour delay, they do not come. But we had, I believe, Exeter in the morning would still come. and Topahakan would still come. Who was the other school that would still come, Mr. Cody?
I don't want. I think those are the only two
Okay,
in
yeah.
the
So
AM.
typically, if there was a snow day, they're not required to come. We don't ask kids or parents to risk driving just because, because the school district closed. So we only had, I think, those two. There might have been one more school that actually did bring them, and I think they were there for an hour. I think Topahakan stayed on the bus longer than they were actually at BCTC, so I always thought that was strange that they did that. But yeah, there's certain ones that come and then some that don't.
And you will also get an information packet too. It's a form if you want to be on what's called the call list. So if there is a snow day, you will get an automated phone call from BCTC that the school is closed or operating on a 2 or 3 hour delay.
Okay. Okay, one more question about the textbooks, and I'll let you guys go. So you said the green books and the orange books. The green books are the sports medicine essentials core concepts.
That's correct.
The red books are the DHO healthcare science ones.
That's correct.
Just those sets. We don't need the first one here listed as NASM essentials of personal fitness training.
No, not right now.
Okay. All right. If anybody's looking for the books, it's berkscareer.com/page/81, and you'll find the books there. Okay, that's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
But you had mentioned that Exeter comes in the morning. I thought I had heard before that Exeter was afternoon.
They do both.
Yeah,
I believe they do both.
Okay.
Because one year I had Exeter come in the PM, and then the students shifted from PM to AM.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as I know, they're still coming both sessions, AM and PM. But you may want to check with the school district.
Sure.
For verification. You're very welcome.
Yeah, this past year I had 4 or 5 students in the morning from Exeter and 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So
okay.
Yeah, they come both. Any other questions from anyone? Like I said, our first day is going to be August 26th for the students to come back in. You are encouraged, you are allowed to bring a water bottle to school. The water fountains will be shut down just for, the safety sake of with COVID and the risks of that. So we are encouraging students to bring water in a water bottle to school. You can use it while you're there. Because like I said, the coolers and the water coolers and the fountains will be inaccessible to the students. And I believe they are also going to be eating in the classrooms. So lunch will actually be in the classroom. They will
be pre-packed.
Yeah, they'll have pre-packaged boxed lunches for those who buy, and not all schools eat at BCTC, but the ones that do, they will be eating in our classroom. That was the latest that we were told.
Any student questions from the students?
I have a parent question. So if they buy lunch at BCTC, do they have a lunch account like they would at their high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be getting information for that where you can put money into an account. And then they, I believe they use their ID because they will also get an ID card.
Okay.
And that's how they get in and out of the school.
Is Wilson a morning or an afternoon program?
Wilson's in the afternoon.
Okay.
I believe they come right around 12 o'clock and they leave. They are the first school to leave. They leave by 2:15. Because I think my first year there, I had 9 kids from Wilson in my afternoon. So 9 out of my 15 or 16 kids left me at 2:15.
They just changed their the time, school time, and school's going to be over now at 2:20. Do you think that that's going to impact when they will leave BCTC?
That's a good question. I really don't have the answer to that.
Are they doing that as a temporary thing, ma'am, because of COVID, or is that something that they noted is like a permanent thing moving forward?
I think it's going to be for this academic year.
Okay. So they might have some, again, don't quote us on this, but if that's the case, they may alter the time that they're there in the afternoon at BCTC in order for them to get back at 2:20 so they can get their bus. That would be a question to ask Wilson. It's like, will their time at BCTC be shortened?
Hey, Mr. Cody, I can actually jump in and maybe provide some insight to that. I just got back in. I apologize, everyone. I had another meeting I had to jump into. So our transportation director is actually going through with all our sending schools right now because we do know that there are some changes to some of the drop-off and pickup times. So that's all being finalized pretty much as we speak. And I anticipate that going into early to mid next week as well. Because I'm sure all of you are aware that there's been a lot of changes even in the last few days throughout Berks County as far as what the schools are doing. So please stay tuned to that. There will be information on our website. There'll be information coming out through School Messenger and also through our social media outlets. And then again, contacting your sending school as well is also a good resource. But I know that both us and all the sending schools are working together to try to get those answers ironed out as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Dr. Stauffer.
Yeah, this is our principal, guys. So
hi, everybody. Sorry, I've been jumping around meetings this evening, so welcome.
You snuck in the back door, Dr. Stauffer. Didn't hear
you. I just got back in.
So for everybody that's on here, this is Dr. Stauffer. He is our principal at East. So he's here to help us and answer any questions that you guys might have.
One more quick question about the workbooks. Can you use e-textbooks or do they have to be paper books? Or the workbooks?
We would prefer the paper textbooks just because we can go over the answers with the students if they're having trouble or if they're not understanding what they're doing. It's easier for our learning assistant to help the students as well.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I usually collect them to grade them, so that would help me with that. Any other questions from anyone, especially now that we have Dr. Stauffer with us, about school and what's going on?
I know some parents had some particular questions. Here's your chance to ask Dr. Stauffer for more clarity if you wish.
Dr. Stauffer, one of the questions that someone brought up was if we start before another school starts, will that school provide them transportation to us?
That is an excellent question and probably one of the more popular ones over the last 2 days. So basically the way that we run our transportation is BCTC is responsible for the transportation from the sending school to and from BCTC and back to the sending school again. So we handle all of that. When we do start at different times, and this happens every year, it really depends on the school district, but chances are what they're going to do is they're going to have a drop-off point or a pickup point where the students would have to get to at that high school in the mornings or in the beginning of the afternoon, and where they would be dropped off again. But BCTC only handles the transportation from the sending school to BCTC and then back to the sending school again. So my suggestion would be reach out to the sending school and just see how they're handling it, what they're doing. And it's probably going to be even more different this year because I know some schools are hybrid, some are virtual. So it's really going to kind of depend it's going to be very individualized as far as how they're handling that this year.
Anyone else?
Okay, well, we are exactly at an hour. I really want to thank everybody who, joined us today. And like I said, if you talk to somebody that is missing this today, it is recorded and it will be on our website in the next couple of days. Our technology guy is going to extract this from the Zoom and put it on our website so that people can reach it at other times if they could not make it tonight. If there's any other questions in the email that I sent you guys with this link, feel free to email me at any time and I will try to get back to you as quickly as possible. Like Dr. Stauffer said, things are changing every day. We will try to keep you as up to date as possible. You can definitely refer to our website for the most up-to-date information, and that's at berkscareer.com. And then we also have social media pages on Twitter. It's at Berks Career, that's on Twitter. And then on Facebook, it's at bctc.ce. And then we also have an Instagram. For those of you who are on Instagram, it's at Berks Career and Tech. So there's all social medias you can find us, and then definitely on our website at berkscareer.com to get all the most current information on what's going on with school, as like things are changing every day. So thank you guys. I look forward to seeing you on the 26th. And like I said, any questions in the meantime, please feel free to email me and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible.
Thank you, everybody. Look forward to working with your children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, can stop recording this now.